Hi there, how's it going? This is the tweak section. How's it going? Right, I'm just gonna have a drink or something. Much better. Okay, so we have our mech here, and the weapons are added, everything's added to it, so cool, as they would say. Now, what we have to do is make sure that it all works. Now, everything should be linked to this. So if I double click on it, with F4 held, everything, okay, on the top there, should hang off this. Now we can tell that it isn't, simply because if I do this, look, it ain't working. Well, that's okay. We can start fixing that straight away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this. So just quickly hide selection. So now that's linked to it. And that means we can now start linking these parts to it as well, okay? So, hit F4. Go in there. And first I want to make sure that those parts are moving, and they are. So now I'm going to grab this. And I want this linked in as well. And I want this and our other arm here, and they're going to be linked to this frame here. The back of the neck is linked to the frame, as is the head, or the head can just be linked to this part if you prefer, like that, as long as it's linked in some way or another. Now let's have a look and see how we did now. There we go. Now things are starting to move together the way they should. I can see there's a couple of bits that haven't been attached properly. Can you see there? So we can go and make sure those are attached too. Things like that. Unhide all. And just come in on those, have a quick look. The thing is, some of these parts are attached and some of these aren't, and I'm not going to lose any sleep over the ones that aren't anymore. We'll just have a quick look at them. Those, for example, are attached, but there are some bits that are not. Okay, so I'm going to move my mech around a little bit, and by doing that, I can see if there's any like loose parts that's knocking around that aren't doing anything. See, there's some there. And I can just marquee them. Get rid of those. My front viewport and zoom. Just my hip controller. Then bring this up. There we go. Make it look nice and tall. It's a big robot, so it should look impressively big. Now, I'm looking at this. I need to see what kind of controls I need for the arms, so I'm going to double click an arm. Actually, I'll try and get the inside rig, that'll make it a little bit easier. I'll just get in there. There we go, and then hide unselected. Okay, so that just gives us this, which is pretty fun looking anyway. And from this we can start working out a few bits that we're going to need to do. Now, this has a full range of movement. This does not have a full range of movement. If I go to my hierarchy and just check my link info, okay, we can check what it can and can't rotate on. So, oh, wrong button, hang on. If I go to my hierarchy panel again and press rotate, make sure that we're on local. Okay, so we can see which axis are which. You're not colorblind, so it's probably making a little bit more sense to you. Now, if I take off various rotations on my locks, you can see the X, which is the one we wanted to rotate on, the Y and the Z. So we can turn off Y and Z, and this will only rotate now on this one. Okay, which isn't to mean that we can't still rotate this one, but it won't rotate on anything else except that. Now, for this, we can also change our rotation locks. Okay, pardon me. I'll just let autosave do its thing. By doing this, what we're doing is we're basically constraining it to one set of axis. In this case, I believe the Z-axis, I think. Let me just, as I say, let autosave do this first. Oh god, such a snuffly nose. Still saving. Dear me. Right, so, like I said, let's turn off some of the rotation and the X. Hang on. X and the Y, and that just leaves the Z like that. And then down here, where our mount is, remember that we built, we're only going to want that operating as well on the local Z-axis. Okay, so that basically pins that down to there. And then down here for this one, we don't want this to really rotate at all. So I can just lock its rotation on all three axes like that. Okay. Now over here I can do the same again. So lock out my rotation and then lock this one just to a Z, and then lock its little buddy here just to a Z. There we go. And then I'm just going to lock off all rotation on this. That means we can't accidentally rotate it, look. See? Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to save a workbench of this. So I'll just pause. Right, so with that saved, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make up a couple of IK chains. So for this I'm going to need a pair of dummies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my helpers, okay, and I'm going to create a dummy. And I'm just going to create one on the floor here, actually. Okay, and I'm going to create two that are roughly the same size. And if you want to give them handy dandy names, that's probably not a bad idea. So in this case, let's say right arm and left arm. Probably should have put a C on them, never mind. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to align these to this. And I also want to align its orientation. Okay, so that's one, and then I'm going to just pull it to the end there. Just do it in my top viewport actually. That way I can see if it's actually at the end, which it should be, like so. Okay, next. I've got another one here. And I'm going to align that to here. And then just bring this forward like so. Okay, so we've got two arms all created up now. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to build my IK for them, which is easy enough. All I need to do is firstly make sure these are linked like so. And like so. There we go. Okay, now load up my move tool, and I'm going to go to animation, IK solvers, and I'm going to select this first. Animation, IK solvers, history independent solver. And I need a full hierarchy chain for this to work. Go all the way down to here. Okay, now remember what I said about I think it was Higgs from Aliens. You see, it's a bit like the strap that Higgs had in Aliens, isn't it? Come on, all the way down to there. Okay, now over here I can do the same again. Animation, IK solver, history independent solver, not history dependent, and go to there. Okay, so that's pretty cool. What will that allow us to do? Well, it means we can start moving things. So, see. Now that one doesn't seem like it's quite set up right, does it? Let's take it apart and have another look at it. I think we need to bring this down a bit as well. And just bring the actual part to the very end of the weapon. Let's change this to local viewport. Let's get this in the right position, because it really didn't look like it was. It's much better. I'll go over here and do the same again with this one. And my top viewport, I'm just going to bring it in, let autosave do its thing first. So move this up. And I need to check the alignment on these actually, because I'm not 100% sure that making the alignment follow these is probably the best idea, especially considering. So let me have a quick look. If not, then what I'll do is I'll make some new dummies and just align them to those ones, but not in thingy. So, animation, IK solver, history dependent, no, not history dependent. Animation, IK solver, actually IK limb solver, there we go. So that's the limb solver. Animation, IK solvers, history independent solver. History independent is going to be better for what we need. There, that's more like it. Turn off the local system. And you can see now we can track our gun left and right and all that good stuff. And our rotations aren't breaking. Yeah? Cool. Next, over here then. Same again. Animation, IK solver, history independent solver. Take it all the way down to the end of this and click. And you can see it's doing the same over here as well. Gives us a massive control. Now, what we could also do with this is we could then go into our hierarchy panels and we can have limits of effect. Yeah, so that would mean that in IK our axes are limited. We, it could only move a certain amount of degrees up or down or whatever. And I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that in some of the free tutorials that are going to accompany this set. So don't feel ripped off, because you're still going to do them. That's not a problem. Okay, now let's make sure that everything moves off this as it should. Nice. I quite like the fact that the head's moving independently of everything as well. Look, we can make him do this. Ooh, ooh, I'm watching you. Okay, unhide all. And we'll get the front back again. Now at the front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, here, here, and this, okay? And these three here are going to be our front control, so if we were to make the thing want to do that, for example, we could. I'm going to move each of them individually, by the way. So oh. Yeah, keep accidentally selecting the wrong bit. There we go. There it is. Okay. Now I don't have a controller for that yet, so I'm going to build one. And you know how I built these fellas here, so I'm going to build it the same way. So what I need to do is make myself some geometry, and I'm going to make myself, some shapes, not geometry. Make myself a circle, and I'm just going to draw that out here, okay, like so. And for the colour, I'll probably make it blue, just because it's a nice, easy one for me. And then I'm just going to turn it 90 degrees, like that. And then I'm going to make myself some copies. So circle 01, this is going to be, let me see, gun, arm, control 01. I'm going to make 2 copies. I'm going to align these. So let me see, I'm going to go to my align menu. I'm going to align it to this little box here, this IK chain. I'm not going to align its orientation, and just click OK. And now if I select and link, and I'm going to link this IK chain to that. Okay, now if I grab this, you'll see that my gun's moving around with the IK chain. We can do the same again here. So align, and I'm going to align it to this, click OK, and again I'm going to link this to here, like that, and then over here where this is, okay, that's my look at. I should probably put a controller on my look at as well. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this, I'm going to copy it and call it head control. Remember, we want as much possible control as we can get with this, so it's kind of important. I'm going to align that to this, and then I'm going to link my smaller head control box to this, okay? And then I can reduce the size of this if I want to. But it makes it so much easier for me to grab things and see where they are, doing them this way. Just going to print this out. Okay, so that's nice and far from the face as well. So as you can see now, we've got all the controllers we need. There's not many of them. It's a robot though, so you know. But we've got all the controllers we need to kind of get started with some basic animation-y fun. So that's cool. Okay, I'm just going to quickly test this. So I should be able to grab both these, and now move the guns like that. So that's good. Now remember, you're going to find it very, very easy to start intersecting things. See, especially when we start doing these. So be careful. Right. Check the head movement. Beautiful. Okay. Now these three, I'm going to connect to my main control thing here as well. So, see the hip control. If I connect them to that, it means that my unit is always going to have all its parts together. Okay, we can move them individually, but they'll also move when we move the hip. So let's show you that. See, so his head and the weapons now turn to face. Now if you wanted an independent spin for the head and the weapons, so we can turn the weapons as well, we could make a weapon track and connect that instead. To do that, what we could do is perhaps take this ring here and make a copy of it and call it weapon head, like that, and instead we could link the controllers to the weapon and head, like that, and then link that onto this. And what that means now is that if we move this, everything moves as it should, but we can also do that, so we can control those individually as well. Okay, so it just gives us an extra degree of control with the model. Okay, so with that bit of tweaking done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop and move on to the last bit of tweaking for the entire set, which is that chest plate. So, till then, bye bye for now.